Hey everyone, this is Michelle Edmonds, and I am the coach of the Serenity Weight Loss and Detoxification Program. We thank you so much for joining us. I have episode 3 of Serenity's Biggest Losers. And I absolutely love this series. We're going to be doing this, everyone, through the end of the year. But today, it's Shante Turner to the left of my screen. Shante, because of that delay sticking, everyone who's watching, we're getting that time delay. I'm going to let Shante talk straight through as much as I can, and then I'll jump in on the end so that it flows a little more smoothly. Okay, Shante? Is that okay with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Let it rip, girl. I'm so proud of you. I know what to do.
Ah, okay. Well, Michelle, thank you. I want to start by saying by offering to have me on to talk with you. It's always a joy to see you and to get some personal time to talk to you. I have a couple of the questions, so I'll just continue to talk, and if you want to jump in, please feel free.
Okay.
So, one of the first questions that we'll talk about, I guess, is really around body and what led me to the Serenity program.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually known Michelle and been working with Serenity for over 16 years. The first thing, that led me to Serenity, I was in college, and I remember seeing the success of one of my close college friends as she was doing really well with Serenity. I have been a long-time diabetic. I was diagnosed with diabetes at age 2 and have always had challenges managing my weight, and have been heavy set for longer than I can remember. And so what really led me back to Serenity, or led me to Serenity initially, was just the weight. What led me back to Serenity this last time was not just the weight, but knowing that this program is truly a mind, body, and spirit program. And I had areas I needed to work through in all three. And so called my godmother. My diabetes, although controlled, was not without having to take medication, and a number of medications. My blood pressure was controlled, but still had some issues there. And so I was on medications, multiple medications for that. And then honestly, I had a family member, my father, who had suffered a cardiac event, and there were some cardiac levels that they were starting to see elevated. So I knew from a body perspective and wanting to be there just for my children and family, I needed to do something. And so since then, and since I've been on the program, I started, I believe it was March 1st or March 3rd. And now we're at September 14th. And I have released, we don't
March
say
3rd.
lose.
March 3rd.
March 3rd, I've released, not lose, because I don't want to find it.
That's right.
I've released 70 pounds. And from a weight perspective, Michelle asked me the last time I remember being at this weight, and I honestly don't remember the last time being at this weight. I've been able to discontinue some of the medications from a diabetic perspective. My last A1C was at I believe 5.5, which is actually what they consider a normal or diabetic level.
Absolutely.
I have not been there. Yeah, I have not been at that A1C level since I've been diagnosed a diabetic, because they didn't test my A1C before that. So I've never had an A1C reading at that level. Let me say it that way. So over 35 years. And it's just been tremendous. High blood pressure medicine has been released. But what I will tell you, and the next thing that we'll go to, is really the mind work. Okay. And so having known Michelle for 16 years, I knew that this was not just about the weight. And I will tell you, every time I went into the program, the last couple of times I got out of the program because I ended up getting pregnant and having a baby.
That's right.
But
That
even
was
right
not
before,
part of the program, everyone. That's not part of our plan, you know.
yeah, that's not a requirement. But even before that, I will tell you, is it was right when I was at that stage of mental and spiritual breakthrough. And honestly, just to be transparent, it was that piece that I knew that I would have some success, but right before I needed to really make that breakthrough,
Mhm.
it just happened to get pregnant, or I would leave the
Right.
program in those areas yeah, those times I
And
didn't get
might
pregnant.
and might I add that I kind of noticed that as I was like, what is this?
Right.
We were right on the edge. And Michelle, I
Guess what? So not that I was having babies not to get a full healing, but I knew going into this the program this cycle that was not in the plan to have another child. And
and we
so
love you, babies. We do.
we do love the babies. We
We
love the
love you.
kids. We love the kids. And so you ask, what are some things that have changed about how I see food, how I see my body, and the beliefs about food? And it's always been for me around food, it's always been one of those things where, like you said, oh, I don't eat a lot. And, I actually even miss meals and stuff, but I snack a lot. I do know I snack a lot and all that stuff. But I never really put the two and two together about how much I was actually consuming and really telling myself that I wasn't, right? All of the true management, addiction, and control
Mhm.
um, items that I really needed to work through from a food perspective. And what I really discovered this time was it wasn't even about the food. That if I look at the the challenges that I had around food and weight, I actually had those challenges in other areas of my life.
Mhm.
Whether I talk through, relationships, or, just how I viewed, family and friend relationships, and how I approached a lot of different things, is that it wasn't just food. And so as I came to the program this last time, and I really came to it, like I said, on the wings of the medical and wanting to be there for my family. And I really came with the prayer of just really being open this time to whatever Michelle had to say. And initially, um, the first big aha, was it really was not Michelle that I needed to be open to, but spiritually to where God was leading me from in healing in my hurts, habits, and hangups of life.
Absolutely.
And so that has been for me more so this journey of, the weight is a byproduct of everything that I am going through or healing,
Okay.
whether it's going up or whether it's going down.
That's right.
So for me, I've had to really change from a food perspective. And the funniest thing is, you know, this time I've been more in tune, and I've noticed even when I eat like your September challenge, no problem. Haven't been eating the chips and all this stuff,
Right.
and don't have the desires. But I've noticed that even then there's still fluctuations. And so, like
Yeah.
Michelle likes to say, what is that?
You're
That
right.
that 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 can't be food, because you're eating the same amount. And
Right.
so there must be something else at play. And I'm now really becoming more mindful of Shante and the whole body and environment, and how I'm being impacted, and how I'm interacting with life and everything that's going on, and truly how powerful the mind and the spirit is in this whole realm,
And
that it isn't about the food. Hmm.
Shante, we're Western culture, and we are probably United States, the last country that recognizes mind connection with the physical. I don't want to act like I came on the scene with something. This is not new.
uh,
you know,
yeah.
I don't want anyone to think, oh, Michelle think, no, this is something that this country tends to not embrace. But other countries, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, who was a recent candidate for president, by the way, same Marianne Williamson, Louise Hay,
Yeah.
all talk about the mind connection to the body, including weight.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And I never connected those two. If we're gonna get transparent and be open here, out in Facebook world and YouTube world, um, I went to the point. So in one of the breaks between when I wasn't working with Michelle and with Serenity, I had climbed to almost 400 pounds and had a whole host of issues, but in my mind told myself I was doing fine. Um, but I eventually decided at that point to go get gastric bypass, and was successful in that term. I'm going to say losing, upwards of 160 pounds or something to that extent, 180 pounds. But what I didn't lose was all of the hurts, habits, hangups, bad food management, and life behaviors.
You
And
didn't
so
lose the baggage. You did not.
I did not lose the baggage. I did not do the mind work. And I saw that as a quick fix tool.
Mhm.
And this was just me. Not to say that if you are at that point where that is the tool or the method that you want to use, that it's
Yes,
not
I understand.
doesn't have benefits. But
Yes.
unless you do the full work, that includes the mind piece, the mental piece, how you look at it, and the spiritual piece, you do run the risk of being a heavy set person that can only have little meals,
Right.
which is
Exactly.
where which is
Exactly.
where I was at. And I remember even through
I
Michelle,
like I
craziest
like
thing.
that I like that description. A heavy set person who can only eat.
I,
I love that.
Listen, and I have to give a nod to my sister, Tisha, who told me that, who actually, warned me about, or told me, you really got to make sure you go into it fully and all this stuff. Otherwise, you'll, and change your eating habits. Otherwise, you'll just be, heavy and can only sit down and eat little meals. And
Mhm.
and I laughed, but I became that, and I
Yes.
became that because I did not deal with any of the items that I needed to truly recover from and that I
Yes.
needed to truly address.
That's
And
right.
so after that, ended up gaining, back 80 pounds from
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, upwards of 80 pounds. I think the last time that I came back to Serenity. And so this time it truly was, I really had to say, you need to let go of how you have been interacting, this toxic relationship that you've been having with food. And you need to, not that food itself is toxic, but how you interact, right? And your relationship with the food
That's right.
um, has become toxic. You know what I mean? Anything
Absolutely.
that
Oh,
is
I do.
used out of its intended purpose, whether it's an extreme or applied, can become bad.
That's right.
Water can be bad.
You can overdo water. I was just gonna say that.
That's right.
Mess up anything, really.
Yeah, I had it was a MD, it might have been a neurologist that talked about, when you get water in the wrong places, you get some water on the brain, and all of a
Yep.
sudden you'll see
Yep. How
how
you
bad
can
it
mess
is.
up even water can be. It's like some people can say,
Right.
the expression. Some people can say good morning wrong. You've heard that expression
Mhm.
before. You can mess
Mhm.
anything. Really, you can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for that point.
And then spiritually, you asked the question, what are the things I had to change, and have I slipped, and where am I at, and all that stuff. And yeah, spiritually, I had to even look at in the program, where am I at in that realm, and what I found is that while I was very active in church and had a good spiritual life and all that stuff, I I still like to hold on to certain things. And this was one area that, even though I prayed for God to help me through this,
Right.
I didn't really release that to him. And I didn't allow him. And so it was just it was maybe a desire, of my mind, or something that I said, but it wasn't fully in my heart, like where I was truly convicted. And so that's something that I will tell you. I'm not here to say that I'm perfect, because I still have
No
to
one
struggle with
is.
that
That's right.
day by day. Yeah. But what I found is, when I see that there's gaps, that's where now I'm more mindful of what's happening, whether it be in my habits, interaction with the program, with the weight, that now I start to do kind of that checklist of, okay, what's going on? Is it family? Is it work? Is it relation? How's your spiritual life? All of those different checklists, where instead of just saying, oh, let me go eat some lettuce and
That's it.
some,
That's it. That's it. It's
yep, yep. And so, that's been one of the biggest things for me too, as well as spiritually, is and with the program, is to give myself grace,
yeah.
and to remember that perfection is not the goal,
No,
right?
no.
And for a long time with this weight thing, Michelle, I've always, if I could only get to this point, if I could only get to this number, if I could only get to this size, you know what I mean? And what I found is, I'm now past that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now at or past that size, and I still have work that I need to do regarding how I view my body, how I love myself,
Yes.
and my relationships, both, earthly, horizontally, as well as with God. And so perfection is not the key, and it isn't a goal or a race that I now realize, a point that I have to get to, that this is going to be a constant work,
That's right.
that Michelle's going to have to talk to me for the rest of my life, because
You know what? I like to use the example, Shante. None of us are turkeys. You don't put us in the
mm,
and wait for the thermometer to pop out and let us know that we're done. Even the coach, no therapist, nobody works that way. I am constantly evolving as I work with all of you, or I
mhm.
effective in helping you. I I
Mm.
I can't sit back and go, I got it going on. Girl, and anyone who knows me well knows I just got married. Oh, not even 60 days ago, maybe just 60. And I never knew how controlling I could be. Um,
Mm,
could we just put that cloth in the kitchen, over there instead, please? So we're all, the point is, we're all evolving. Nobody is done. The work is ongoing. And the person who
yeah.
it's about being done, all finished, that's the person who makes me worry. Does that make sense?
Mm. It does. It does. And I mean, and that's the whole point, right? Is to continue to evolve and continue to grow, right? And I think for a long time, while I thought I was evolving, it really wasn't. I was allowing myself to say, but it really should go on that counter. That's where the
Right.
cloth needs to
It
go,
really should go over
right?
there.
Right, right. Instead of just saying, maybe it should, but do I need to control this situation? Am I
Right.
being rational and all that stuff? And I still cycle through that. I'll tell you, listen, because
Yeah,
sometimes the cloth ends up over there. I
right.
still, will cycle through that. But it's made me have to stop and think and say,
That's right. Is that
okay, girl,
really the priority?
is that really, or why is this? It makes me question myself more, really. Why is that so important? Or why are you focused on that? Or why are you feeling that way? And I've had more conversations with myself, and I will even say, Michelle, really, you don't know this, but relationship wise, where I've actually, I believe, loving myself more
Mhm.
by opening up more, right? And when there are things that truly, may be bothering me,
Mhm.
having those conversations with people, because um, I want the relationship to maintain. And that's part of, I think, with the weight, one of the things that you learn is that you hold the weight to keep people at bay. And so knowing that is my subconscious default, I have been pushing myself to have more of those difficult conversations and opening up and telling people, this is kind of how this has impacted me. How can we do better? How can I do better? How can we both heal?
And dag nabbit, the cloth goes over there.
Right.
Please cooperate.
Right. That's true.
Oh
So,
God. Shante,
anywho,
tell
yes.
tell the group, tell the people who are watching, and we hope it's going to be lots. I don't think it's fair to not mention that you brought your dearest family members into the program.
Yes.
Comment on
Yeah.
that. You
So,
have to tell their business because they're going to be on doing their own video one day soon.
oh yes. So, my spouse came to the program first. Was familiar with Serenity. He had great success the last time. More so than I did. He actually released more than I did and did a wonderful job.
82.
I started, 82 pounds. I started this last cycle before him, and he decided to come, and wow, it's really been a blessing. It's been something that we've been able to connect on. We were already connected, but there's always, like we said, room for growth and opportunity, and so he's been doing really well. And
Very,
then
very
went
well.
yeah, went very well. Went home, and a lot of my family members saw I think at this point I was maybe down maybe 50 pounds, or 55, something like that,
Okay.
around the 4th of July, and everybody was like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's going on? Tell me a little bit about this. And so two of my siblings and one of my in-laws actually have since joined the program. So we're up to, what's that? We're up to, I think, 5 people now that are within the Serenity, and a
Yeah.
couple of more. We got our punch card filled out. So
Yeah. Everyone,
yeah.
and the issues that are coming up are kind of telling me more about you and telling me more about Jeff. And so they dovetail because it is a family and it is about releasing
It
emotion.
is, and I think that's one of the things, Michelle, a really great call out, that when you have people, whether it's family or friends or people that are intimate with you in it, and you guys are both going down the same path, as long as you're looking at it like, I want to heal me and
Mhm.
not point the finger as you, the growth and the release can be exponential. And so I didn't even realize until they joined some of the stuff,
That they,
you know what I mean, and how connected it was, and how impactful it was for me. And I didn't even realize that it had an impact until we started talking about it. And so that's part of, again, with the program, with the release and the remembrance of things, more than just make sure you eat chicken and seafood and this and
oh
combine it with
yeah,
veggies. I mean,
that's
all
so,
of that is,
yeah, that's really not
yeah,
the thing. I do it, and we do, you know
yeah.
that. But do you know something, everyone that's listening? And Shante probably knows me, one of those that knows me best. That really is not what this is all about. Oh,
Yeah.
chicken, have your veggies with your chicken. Give me, I need to give you more meat.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that's what a lot of times, even myself, when initially, when people look at the program or they think about it, they focus on that,
Right.
and they focus on the food. What do I have to give up?
Ah,
What is it? The restrictions and all that stuff. And it's so much bigger than that. I tell people, I said, yes, there'll be some changes in what you consume and how you interact, but it's really a full body, mind, and spirit program. And that's the piece that is the most beneficial,
thank you.
is that it's not just the physical, but it is the self, as you said, self-love. Because I was real good at self-care, get my
Mhm.
pedicures, get my hair done, and all that stuff. But the self-love is the piece now, truly, that I'm working on,
And I
and
want,
that is the constant focus.
and I'm sorry, I wanted to interject on that because you just brought up a real,
Yeah.
that's a value to me. This issue of, and women of color, African American women in particular, tend to think self-care, your pedicures, your manicures, your hair, your makeup, we tend to equate that with self-love. No, that's self-care. That is the same as saying if you cut yourself and you get yourself a Band-Aid or you go to an urgent care center, that's self-care. But a derelict, someone in the street that's homeless, can also take themselves to emergency when they cut themselves, but they don't love themselves. So it's so important to make a distinction and not equate self-care with self-love. And yet, people who love themselves do care for their body. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it didn't make sense until a couple of months ago. Because I figured the way my hair looked equated to,
That's right.
and it didn't. It didn't make sense till a couple
I
of
look
months
good.
ago. And
I
so,
look good. What does she mean? I don't love myself. I look good.
right, right. She don't know what she's talking about, right? But that's the piece that I'll tell you that where Michelle has just been so powerful that is so much beyond the food and the number, because almost every day, every week at least that I'm in the program, I learn something new about myself, about life interaction with, you know what I mean, spirit walk and all that stuff. And so if it truly was a turkey or a race, I wouldn't be learning anything new. It would be, I got that.
Right.
But it's not. And what this program gives you really is full that full aspect, right? It truly is intended to restore and to help you to be whole, with also releasing weight. But the weight is a byproduct.
That's it.
Of the healing.
That's what I hear you
Yep.
saying. Yes,
Yep.
we release weight, and I'm gonna be very candid and prideless right now. We kick some butt in the weight release department.
Oh yes.
But it really is not the focus. I know you all must be thinking, how could it not be? It really isn't. It's a byproduct of the stuff you're holding. And you've been holding on, dear ones, for years. For years. All I'm doing, I'm a facilitator that just opens the closet. And now I'll admit, some of y'all, it comes tumbling out all the way down, all the way down here in Atlanta. I'm like, whoa. But
oh yes.
like, woo. But that's really what we do. I know we went over our time. Who can?
Oh, it was great. Thank you.
This was so helpful. I don't know if you did say this already. Maybe you did, and surely worth it. Again, your total release as of today. Please share it again.
Oh, yep. So my total release as of today has been 70 pounds.
How long?
Has been totally released in 5 months. Yep, just under 5 months.
That's right. Marie Osmond, eat your heart out with her easily 50 pounds. Yeah, she's been advertising for 4 or 5 years now, right?
Yeah, listen, and the food was good.
That's right. Everyone, thank you so much. Any parting words from you, Shante?
No, what I would say is the first step is reaching out to Michelle, and that's the hardest step. But if you are truly one that is looking for a healing or in need of it, please come join us at the Serenity program. It'll be such a blessing.
Appreciate you, Shante.
Thank you, Michelle.
Love your whole family. I appreciate you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll be back. We're doing Serenity's biggest losers for the rest of the year. We appreciate you for joining in. My name is Michelle Edmonds. They call me the Godmother. You can reach me on Facebook, Serenity Weight Loss, or you can call 404-445-8579. Thank you so much. We love you all. Shante, you know I love you. Bye-bye.
I love you too.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.